YouTube. So today I'm going to be talking about financial depression and how that can affect a lot of us right now. And I'm also going to share a little bit of my story time. So I was one of those people in high school, or like dumb kids that, got allowance, but I'm not getting allowance the way some of these kids be getting allowance nowadays with getting like a whole credit card. I was one of those kids that like got allowance, got like extra cash to buy, something from McDonald's, something just to buy. But people don't talk about how annoying it is to be a kid and want to be able to go out places but don't really have the money, or don't have like parents that have money like that to buy, like, or just to go out. I remember I wanted to be like those kids in high school. They're always going on a yacht, always going on some cruise, vacation. And I was like, when I was in high school, I didn't really do much. Like, I literally went to a few restaurants in there, but rarely did I go places. And then when I became an adult, when I went to college, I did work a single seasonal job. And of course, I was going to school and stuff and getting money and stuff. But I don't think people realize that even with that, I felt like I still wasn't making enough. I was still in that constant state of homebody, or people like to have the state where homebody. But even with being a homebody, it's like you want to go out, but then it's like you don't want to spend the money to go out. And even with having money, I feel bad buying stuff that is just self-care to me. Like, just to buy like a simple makeup brush, or buy makeup, or just buy self-care things. I just feel like that was wasting money, because it's just like I could use this money to buy other things instead of buying self-care related things. Or if I wanted to just go out to just eat, I feel like I was wasting money, because I always wanted to go to a Korean hot pot. I've been to one when I was 16, but I've always wanted to just go to one just to chill, because I'm just like, the Korean hot pots look good. But even today, I feel like I was just wasting money. And I don't think people realize that, like, when you don't grow up with money, you just mentally feel like, even if I did have the money to just go out and do things, you just feel like you're wasting your money doing it. Then we go to the next step of just like, with financial depression, where it's like, you don't have much money. So before, it's like, okay, you had money, but you didn't really spend it because it was just like, you feel like you're wasting money. But then we go to the step of like, okay, you don't have much. So now when you really want to go out and you really want to spend, you just can't, because you don't have enough money. Or if you have a little bit, you only have to spend it on things that you actually need. And one of the things I've noticed is that it's really put me in a mental state of depression, because I'm just sad at the fact that even with having a little bit of money, I feel like I can't just go out and do anything. I feel like I'm always home. I feel like I can't just go out, and that's a problem. Then I went into a situation very early on in my life where it's like a fraudulent thing happened to my bank account, and I can't even able to open another bank account. So now I open a new one, but now I have to wait for a card. And when you don't have a card, you really can't do anything. You can't spend anything. You can have somebody, like, you could send money to somebody, but you can't like actually do anything. You can't buy anything. So luckily for me, thanks to my aunt, but luckily for me, I've been saving in cash. And I feel like one thing I would say is that if you're someone that does save, on a card, I am someone that doesn't save on a card. I like to save in cash, because I feel like if anything was to happen, I still have money. Then I would say that, like, with financial depression, another thing that happens is that you get overdrafts. Like, if you ever had an overdraft, it's literally when, like, you have to pay a bill and your account doesn't have enough money to pay the bill, so the bank just puts your account on overdraft. And I think this is one of the things where it's becomes very depressing, because nobody wants to be in that state of, like, they don't have money to pay a bill. And it could be a very easy bill to pay. Like, it could be like a store bill, like a store card bill. It could be, or you're paying off something. It could be a simple, like, it's even worse when you have to do that four payment thing, and you don't have the money to pay for the next payment. Like, that gets to that point. And it's like, people don't understand how annoying that could be, because overdraft fees is a problem. Like, overdrafts is not a good sign, because banks are not gonna want to keep you if you constantly getting overdraft. If you constantly not being able to pay, yeah, banks are not gonna want to constantly keep a person if they're not paying off their fees. And I think people don't realize that, like, that's an issue. Like, for me personally, because I had a fraudulent check, and that's another thing, is when you, I will get into the next step for that, but that's another thing, is that banks are just not going to keep you if you're not going by their rules. And then we talk about jobs and stuff, and now in this economy, it's so dang difficult to find a job. Like, just to find, like, just a regular 9 to 5, it's just difficult. But it also comes to down where when you really get to that financial depression, it gets to the point where it's like, you'll just go for anything. So recently, well, not really recently. So what happened, story time, was that for my school that I go to, there was a personal assistant job, like work study job, that I got in my email. And I thought this was a good job. Cause, you work 2 hours a week, you get paid $500 a week. And that was just good. And I'm thinking that, this would be a good job for me. This is also a remote job, so I don't have to leave my home. And then we talk about, so the personal assistant job, 2 hours, working a day for somebody. I'm texting this person, emailing them. Come to find out that they were a scamming job. And I even researched about it, and people be doing this, sending emails to jobs, sending emails to, like, schools to get, like, to scam students, because students are, like, at a state, or some students at a state where, like, they're desperate because, some of us don't have parents that could pay off for us. And I'm just like, it gets to the point where, like, because you're in this depression of, like, not having money, you're just desperate for anything. You'll just work any job. And I don't think people realize that some jobs are not as good as others. Like, some jobs where it's like, yeah, it's a job, but it's like, some of us want a job where we get benefits. We get employee benefits. Like, but the jobs that be having the benefits be difficult to get into. And I was like, you just get into any job. You literally get into any of them. And it gets to the point where it's like, why do I feel like I need to be desperate, pick up any job just because I don't have money? Just because I don't have, like, why do I need to lower myself down just to pick any job? And people love to be with this, well, a job is a job, but some jobs, it's like you're only working there for the money. There's no benefits. And I'm just like, that's pointless to work a job where you're not getting any benefits. And then the thing about it is that some people realize that those jobs usually that don't have benefits, people are mostly working part-time for those or seasonal, because what they're getting from those jobs are money. And then another thing that I will also say is, and this is what I've been struggling with. Well, I don't really struggle with it anymore, but when I used to be younger, I used to have this thing was like, you watching YouTube or just social media is just really a problem for a lot of us. But I'd be watching YouTube, and I'd be watching like videos of people houses, and I'm just like, or just people who just like people who could just literally get up one day and just like buy something from the store. Like they don't have to worry about the price of it. They could just get up and buy. They could get up and restock. And I just like used to be jealous of these people because I'm just like, these people could just easily get up and go somewhere. They don't have to worry about the money. They don't have to worry about like they could just get like the houses be on point. And I'm just like, I really wish I was one of these people. Because even when I was younger, I always wanted to get like a job. Cause I was just like, always wanted to be able to afford these things when I was older. And I'm just like, just imagine being able to get up one day and not being able to have to worry about, having to, like, for example, like one day someone could probably like steal something from you and you could easily pay that back. Like, some people don't have the privilege like that. And I feel like people don't realize that sometimes, I've said this before, but sometimes some things are more valuable to you when you are paying it. Like, for example, I know that when I got my laptop when I was in college, which I still am, when I'm in college, I was so happy to get a new one because I'm just like, my old one was just messing up and I was like, I need a new laptop. And I was just so happy to finally have something that was my own, and I was able to pay that off every month. And I was just like, people don't understand how good that is to just be able to have something that's yours and that you pay off with your own money. You didn't have like a second person to do it. You didn't have your dad's money doing it. You didn't have your mom's money doing it. You paid that off all by yourself. If this was from when you were using financial aid or this was when you were working, nobody realizes that things be more valuable when you buy it for yourself, like literally. Or if you have like a special person that you like and they buy it for you, it'd be valuable. And then we get to the point of like, when we go through these stages of depression, because people realize there's a multiple stages of depression. Like, we get seasonal depression, we get financial depression, we get just depression from like literally just maybe in a depression from maybe be going through heartbreak, grieving depression. I feel like people don't realize there's so many different depressions, and it's not just being sad of something. People don't realize that depression is something that is not just being sad. It's something that we go through that we just never really get out of. And even if we did get out of it, it doesn't really go away. Like, depression doesn't fully go away. It kind of just like, you get high levels of it. Like, there's one time you could get high levels of depression, and then the next day you could get depression that's like, you don't really think about it. And we kind of mask our depression by happiness. And I've always said that happiness is something that's very hard to just even get, because sometimes people fake their happiness. Sometimes we get, I like to say short-term happiness, where it's like, okay, we're only happy for a short amount of time. Like, we could be, like, for example, like, we could be happy because someone made us laugh, or we could be happy because we're watching, like, a good show, or something like that. We could be happy because we ate our favorite, like, we get our, like, I have enough money after my check to buy, like, a good meal. Like, we get happy because of short-term things. And the sadness is something that is never going to go away. Like, you can't tell somebody, for example, like, when I went through my first dog passing, of course that I'm not immune to it anymore, but there's times where it's like, okay, I do think about it. Like, wow, we really stop and think and realize, my dog just passed. Like, my dog, like, for me personally, I wouldn't say I'm an emotionally unavailable person, but things don't hit me right away. Like, if something sad happens to me, it doesn't hit me right away. It's something that kind of comes, like, very, like, I could probably feel or bottle up all that emotion the next day. It's like, people don't really stop and think to realize that, like, yeah, my dog just passed away. And you don't really think of, like, that's just that sentence alone. It's just like you don't really think about it. And I feel like grieve is something that can be stronger depending on the thing and person. Like grieve, like you can just grieve something that literally is like an object. Like you can just grieve, like let's say you have like these, like this, you can have these good, let's say you had these like pajama pants or just pajamas that you loved when you were younger, and like you grew out of them. You could grieve that too, because something like that was part of your memory, part of your childhood, is now something that you kind of would have to give away now because it doesn't fit you. It's the same thing where you grieving something and you just you grieve something, and like now it's like it just never goes away. The last part of this video I'm going to talk about is how to handle financial depression and how it's something that you could deal with it. So usually what I always say is that every time you do get paid, always take out, or always like withdraw at least $5 if you can, and put it in a container and just hide it. Don't even let people know. It's better if you have a safe, but just put money in a safe or like in a container, and don't even tell people what it is, where it is, because this is going to be very helpful when you do go in a situation where like, okay, your card got hacked, or you do need money for something, or maybe like you didn't get paid right away and you need money right now. Like I've always said, like, you always want to save secondary money or have a secondary place. You always want to have a secondary place to save your money. Another thing that I like to do is I really like to write down things that or future buys, like things that I think about right now that I want to buy in the future. That way I can be able to start saving from now, because I'm one of those people that don't really like to buy things I know I can't afford, and I really don't really like to always do that pay by month thing. Like I don't like to do installments unless it's like something large that's very expensive. But what you really want to start getting in the habit of doing is saving money right when you think of the object. Let's say you're saving up for a whip mop and you want like a really good quality whip mop. Start saving up for that now. Because then if let's say you do want to do the installment thing, you could always put down like a down payment for something, because I think some installments do let you like put on a quick down payment. Then you don't have to, then you do pay that after month. Or it could be someone like me who kind of likes to do the 4 payment thing. Just do something where it's like you can save money, but you could still pay by month if you're comfortable doing that. But that's all for today. If you want another video on this topic, just comment down below and subscribe to this channel. Thank you for this day.